Welcome back to We Still Like Each Other, the podcast. I'm Travis.
And I'm Stephanie.
And this is the podcast where we show that the honeymoon stage can last forever.
And ever.
And ever.
And ever.
And ever and ever.
And ever and ever.
We got a few more and evers here today.
We have some guests, episode 50. We have some special guests up in our house. Oh my God. I'm so excited. All right. Should I introduce them?
You know them better than I do.
All right.
Stop lying.
So we have Roxie. Hi, Roxie. Say
Hey,
hello
guys.
to the people.
Hey, everybody.
And we have someone who has been mentioned on this podcast probably more times than they expected.
Forever and ever.
You might remember this person from episode 3 and sprinkled here or there in other episodes. Welcome to the show, T. Doom, doom, doom. We need some sound effects, babe.
I'm here.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm here all night. We are.
So, welcome to our home. Welcome to the show. How are y'all feeling right now?
I mean, this is different. I
feel great.
Feeling good.
You feel great?
Really great.
Roxie looks like she's gonna throw up.
I do this all the time.
Oh, okay. Super famous.
So I guess if you could tell the audience what's your relationship to these two over here.
Okay. So I went to college with Roxie and T.
Shout out to New Paltz.
Shout out to New Paltz. And if you are a true follower of this podcast, y'all know my relationship to T. We might touch on that in a bit.
I'm confused.
What?
I guess this will be breaking news. What's your relationship
Oh,
to?
God,
I can't with it.
babe. T is one of my good friends.
And I'm just a friend. There's no good in front of it. Just so you know.
Well, we're good friends, and you know why. Because what happened today? We're good friends.
You're right. Different kind of good.
But yeah.
That sounded crazy.
My cheeks hurt. I know. I'm like nervous. I don't know why I get nervous now. All right.
At least the band got back together.
Right.
It's the New Paltz trio.
So, how was your week? Let's ease into this.
I'll start off. My week it's been long.
You had a crazy couple of days.
Yeah, I just got off of driving for 26 hours from Texas to New York, upstate. And so, yeah, I broke that up into 2 days and I had like 7 hours of sleep.
And then they took an extra 3-hour drive to
Facts,
come be here with
yeah.
us. So I'm so
I
excited.
drove
Thank
that
you for
extra
coming.
$56.93 worth of gas to get here,
Ooh.
but
Damn.
y'all worth
They
it.
still count those little pennies.
But
I
yeah,
can't.
so I mean, I'm a little tired, but it's been long overdue. I haven't seen y'all since what 2019 in the
Since
flesh.
pre-COVID.
So
I was
I
gonna
wanna
say,
hug
to
you.
be fair, you're always tired. So
Was that a
true.
yes, that was a
Jab.
jab.
Read the room, babe?
Don't be coming for my lupus.
There's gonna be a lot of jabs tonight. I feel it.
I don't want any parts.
It's gonna be a mini roast session in here. I'm scared.
I like it.
And Roxie, how was your week?
It's been great. It's been really great. My kitchen's so beautiful. And I've just been working on my home and myself.
Roxie's
Shout out
a
to homeownership.
Yes.
You know.
Oh, I mowed the lawn. I am tired.
Yes.
Yeah.
Real
that's
home
basically it.
ownership.
Yeah. It looks a mess.
How
but, you
how
know.
was both of your Pride? Well, Pride month is over.
Are you just saying that because we gay?
Yeah.
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 I'm just playing.
No, you're not supposed to be gay anymore. It's not June.
Oh shit. I didn't celebrate Pride this year. I can't remember. I mean, it's like in spirit, right? Just like, but I didn't do anything. I was planning for this road trip.
No rainbow events.
Nah. I also live in like a very white city. I'm just not trying to be out there with the white queers. That's not really my
okay.
scene, but
Don't post.
I mean, no offense, but
Yeah. It wasn't your vibe.
I'm still on that. Sorry. I actually went to the Pride, and
The
it was nice.
parade in New York
so-
City?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just feel like this year was important, just with everything that's going on and all like the hate that's been going on in the world. So I just feel like I needed to feel that extra bit of love. I usually don't go because I hate walking and hate crowds, but I definitely showed out this time.
So what did you feel like you needed from the event this year?
Community, like feeling loved and feeling accepted, because
Okay.
oftentimes there's just a lot of like, you shouldn't be this way, and as a masculine presenting woman, like I just feel like I'm not like, it's like I'm not feminine, so I'm supposed to be feminine, and there's just been a lot of things about that I don't really like, and I found that just talking to people who I felt were friends have certain viewpoints that I don't necessarily agree with, so I just needed to be around like-minded people.
And you got your fix.
Yeah,
You
it's
felt
really
good
good.
after
Yeah.
Pride. I'm
I
glad.
wish you were there.
Yo, Roxie and me were Pride back in the day.
What are we doing?
I'm just saying, you said you wish I was there. I'm like, damn, we used to be on those streets.
We weren't doing anything. We were walking.
How was your week, babe?
Nothing special.
Every time I ask Travis, he's like,
I
like,
felt
I
that
don't
way,
ask
too.
the same question every week.
It's always a surprise when you throw it to me.
Like every week.
Yeah, he has
As if
that
it's
same
not
face.
coming.
He's like, did I
My
live last week?
There were some cool things that happened that we can't talk about
We can't talk about?
today.
Okay.
That was cool.
What? I'm confused.
What did we do this morning?
Oh.
I don't have no idea.
Okay.
Damn.
Now I'm like, what the fuck happened this morning?
That my mom watched the baby. Holy shit.
Oh
You're losing
my
it.
God. I'm really losing it. Okay, yeah, we can't talk about that.
But other than that, the regular week.
I kind of just brushed that off my mind.
Because we can't talk about
And
it
you
so
brought
much.
it up. I'm like, what? I'm like, what happened? I thought it was related to the podcast. Sorry, insider. Sorry, y'all. We have guests here. We can't have these side conversations. We went on a date.
Oh, yeah.
Finally, remember I was complaining that Travis don't take me out no more?
She sent me about 3 to 4 restaurants.
And then still said, oh, babe, did you pick? I sent you 3 to 4 for you to pick.
Just pick.
Are you the type that like looks up the menu the night before and chooses what you want before you get to the restaurant too?
No, but you know what I have to do, what I've become? I got to check the menu and make sure they have a chicken option for Travis.
That's
Make sure they're
that's a
tender.
good,
Chicken fingers and fries.
that's a good woman.
That's as submissive as I'll become.
I'll check for chicken nuggets.
Yeah, so that was big. I thought you would have brought that up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Worried about the wrong things, bro.
So, speaking about shit that's been happening this week, something I wanted to bring up this episode, which I kind of was like, I don't want to talk about this shit, but it'll be a fun conversation. So there was a video that was trending. Roxie doesn't use social media that much, so she's probably gonna be like, "What are you
What's
talking
trending?
about?" Trending.
Over here.
I be on the gram.
So there was a video of a man bringing McDonald's to his child, but he took the food where he lives with his mom, and she has other children.
I heard about that.
You did hear about it? He only brought McDonald's to his biological child and was like, I'm not bringing McDonald's to anyone else. The mother was upset and she recorded him. She blasted him about only buying for his kid and not everybody else. Social media had a frenzy with it. I want to hear from y'all. What's your opinion on that? Was he justified in only bringing his kid McDonald's? And who wants to go first? Because this is spicy.
What if he thought the other kids were with their biological father?
No, he knew they were there.
Oh, okay, I don't know.
That's tricky. I mean, I'm not a parent,
Mm-hmm.
but I mean, if I was putting myself in that situation, I mean, damn, that's like, I just the type of person I am. I probably would have brought food for the other kids. I mean, the end of the day, like I understand that that's your child, but they're children.
Yeah.
And it's like your issues or whatever is with like the mom, like the parenting dynamic, not necessarily with the kids. So I just feel like out of courtesy, like I would have brought, it's also McDonald's. Like, I don't know. I mean, I understand we in a recession and economy and all that stuff, but like, I don't know. I just, like I said, I can only speak from how I would have handled the situation. Like, they're babies.
Yeah, let's hear what the man in the room
just to play devil's advocate.
I knew that shit was coming.
I knew it.
No. I think there's two ways to look at it. One, we don't know his financial situation. And although you can say it's just McDonald's, that shit adds up.
Yeah.
Popeyes just added up.
Yeah.
Facts.
Exactly. So on one side, I could see like, listen, this shit gets expensive. I can't be doing this all the time. So I'm just going to focus on my kid. On the other side, I could see like if he isn't financially strained, just get the fucking McDonald's.
Right.
I remember my cousin, her parents weren't together anymore, and her father used to come around and he would take us all to McDonald's. And it was just like whatever. And he took that extra step, and I think it's almost like a boss move to be able to do that.
I also just think like I mean, obviously we wouldn't, but like you don't know what the situation is for those other kids, like in terms of if their dad is showing up. And so I just think like, I mean, I don't want to say it's just like as a man, but I just think as like a co-parent or any type of parent dynamic, like it shows a lot when you can be like a positive like role model or just like adult figure in the other kids in the home's like perspective. So I just think that that's like a good example. Like I said, we can only assume what like the dynamic is in the house, but just with assuming that they might have more knowledge, I feel like I would just want to be like a good example and like let those kids know that like, all right, you're not my kid, but like I'm gonna show up for y'all. And even if it's just a small gesture, again, without knowing what this man's pockets look like, but still, like I just think that that's like going the extra mile. Roxie.
Roxie's like, I agree. So
she's like, fuck them kids.
It's not what I said. That's not what I said.
you could be honest. You could be totally honest about your opinion.
I agree. I would have gotten. I just being who I am. I would have just make sure everyone's okay and everyone eats. Like even the moms that I'm not really messing with right now. Like you need something to eat. All right, right, big head.
I wanted to focus on the lack of money part because we could all understand that, right? I know for sure I can understand that. I've mentioned on this podcast there's were times when I used to wish I didn't need 3 meals in a day. Like I get that, But it's also, what are you teaching your kid about how to share with his siblings, not feeling like they're better than the other siblings, right?
Yeah.
If I only have $5 for a Happy Meal, but there were 4 hungry kids in the house, I would have bought a loaf of bread and a dozen eggs in the store instead of buying 1 Happy Meal.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Finding ways to make that.
I would have found a way to make it stretch so they all had something to eat. And even if I couldn't do that, I would pick my son up and remove him from the house so the other kids aren't just watching him eat McDonald's.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like there was so many ways that if money was the issue, he could have made a better choice. Just period.
Right. Or even like, having him come outside and like sit with you in the car or something.
In the car. Yeah, let's take a ride around the block and then just be like, I couldn't get for everybody else, whatever.
Make sure you wipe that barbecue sauce off before you go back inside.
Yo, no funny shit. When I used to work with the kids that I did, I would like make them throw it in the dumps. Like I would be like, throw that shit out before we go inside. Like don't let the other kids see that I took you on a ride to get that.
Yeah, because then it's like, what the fuck? Do I agree that he should have been blasted online and that the mom should have recorded it and made a thing? No. But that situation aside, I feel like a lot of people are in that dynamic when they have children they're not with the partner and then they have more siblings and then you're kind of in this awkward dynamic. But I feel like it becomes a big extended family, whether you like it or not. And you should treat it as such.
And if he didn't have the money, maybe he could have communicated with the mom so she can spot the rest, just that everyone feels included. Because I think that kind of stretches on into like their relationships later on, and it might cause some friction in there where they're like, oh, you're not my real brother, or you're not my real sibling, kind of thing.
Or like, oh, remember that time you got McDonald's? And then it's like causing division within the brothers.
Like, yo, daddy broke, bitch. And then
Exactly.
Got some new Jordans. What did you get?
And that happens. I've seen that happen with kids working in education. And I just remember growing up, my mom sometimes, like, if I came home with friends and she was cooking, she might get mad at me and say, like, I wish I knew so I could have prepared better. But she was
She's still
stretched.
figuring it out.
Whatever she got.
Y'all can't have seconds, but y'all all gonna have first.
Yeah, exactly. She will figure it out. Or like, if she was like, I was planning to get Chinese food for dinner, but I'm gonna order pizzas because they'll spread out more than not just not let my friends eat. Even friends of mine. This isn't, siblings of mine or anything like that. My dad, it's funny, I was talking to one of my middle school friends and they were talking about like when we were in middle school and them coming over to my house. My dad wouldn't eat dinner if my friends were there. He would like let us eat and then he will make a sandwich. He'll cut up some plátanos and boil it with something just because that's just in his nature, So me seeing that just didn't make sense to me.
Yeah, for sure.
Or the money excuse, because like,
figure it out.
I feel like when you don't have money, you're the most resourcely than anybody else.
Facts. Make that $20 stretch.
Exactly. But all right, I just wanted to. You had anything else to say? Because I know your group chat must have been flaming with that.
No, there were jokes. There was like, he should have bought all the kids McDonald's and get her groceries. And
Lies.
bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, like exaggerating it. Yeah. No one's expecting him to like save the family, but it's just, I feel like the biggest thing is like, even that kid, I don't want to be the only kid with McDonald's. I'm going to feel mad uncomfortable. Like, oh my God, everybody's eating this. I would go on school trips and my mom always got me a hero sandwich because just in case someone didn't have lunch, I had another half to give somebody instead of buying me a roll. So I just grew up just always being very giving especially when it comes to food.
Yeah, food is just like one thing that it's like you give. You never like kind of like count towards that. It's just like
little Stephanie, little like literally breaking bread. You want some?
Exactly. That's just always how it's been. So it's just like weird to me. So your group chat was chill?
We good.
He's not blowing up that spot. All right, baby. Do you have a did you know for us?
Uh-oh.
Did you know many lesbian, gay, and bisexual people?
Wait, hold on. I can't even.
What?
There's more to us.
Run it back.
I wonder why you looked that up.
It was just next on the list. And
Yeah.
it's funny how the
Is
universe
that why
works.
y'all really brought us on the
Tea and Roxie
podcast?
coming.
So just so y'all know, I don't know the did you knows before this moment.
We did it.
Travis did that shit.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay, sorry, baby.
Did you know? Did you know many lesbian, gay, and bisexual people know that they are attracted to members of their own sex at an early age, sometimes as young as 6 or 7 years old? Others learn much later in life, in their 30s, 40s, or 50s. Some research indicates that sexual orientation is determined between birth and age 3, but no one is sure what causes particular orientations.
Okay.
Spicy.
So
I didn't know.
Miss Roxie,
On the spot.
when did you know?
It was when I was playing butt tag during recess.
Butt tag.
Seriously.
Oh, I didn't know, but why
But
was
you
I
know,
playing?
like the tingles.
Yeah. Oh, tingles. Yeah. Yeah. It was, I don't know the age. I really can't remember when, but in wrestling, like it's just like certain things kind of like I used to watch wrestling and I used to want to be a certain person. And well, I used to want to be, you remember China?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I was attracted to her, but no, she's like this big manly thing. So I changed my mind. But I just thought that, I don't know what I was thinking. There was a lot of thoughts, but
Okay.
I don't remember.
Like
when.
elementary time?
Yeah. Yeah. But never acted on it, like besides butt tag. That was basically it. And then I can't talk about that part. Because I think it was a babysitter. I don't think she was supposed to do that.
Oh my God, Roxie.
I think it could be a vision. I don't remember.
Okay.
How old was I? I was of age. And so was she. So there was that time. And
Travis looks so concerned right now.
she was young. She was like a teenager.
Yeah,
kinda.
yeah.
It
Okay.
wasn't like a 40-year-old babysitter.
Gotcha. Okay, that
Guys,
makes me
it
feel a
was
little
like-
better.
Just like people from like the backyard watching me.
Gotcha.
Gotcha.
The group, just a little older from the group. Come
Okay.
on. I wouldn't like start like an R. Kelly movement right now.
Travis
Not right now.
still looks
And,
concerned.
I just say a lot of stuff. Sorry. Why
no
did you
worries.
start with me?
No worries. And T.
I'm gonna try to soften that button. I'm just like,
I'm gonna walk.
I feel like it's between like the ages of 8 to 11, somewhere around there. I like have very vivid memories of being like in the 3rd grade, and my next door neighbor, my best friend at the time, like we used to just play doctor all the time. Nah, we were doing things that we probably had no business doing at that age. But I just remember when she moved, because she moved from like LA, so she was like super cool and stuff. And you know, I was like wearing hand-me-downs, and she had like cool new Old Navy clothes. But we would always hang out, and we'd have like, we slept over at each other's house all the time. And she was like the first person that I like interacted with that was my age, who like seemed way ahead of their years. And she was the first person who like taught me how to like make out. Like first we started with like teddy bears and dolls, and eventually we were like, yeah, we were doing some wicked wild crazy
the
shit.
blow.
I mean, at least I
butt
was
tag, not
doing it with somebody,
doctor.
like experimenting with somebody my age.
age.
The
Wait,
fuck?
that was a sideline. That's not when it happened.
But yeah,
I hate you guys.
we would just like, we practice on each other. And then I just remember like between the ages of like, I don't know, 8 to maybe like 5th, 6th grade. Cause then once I started to go to a different school, like we kind of started like losing touch a little bit. But yeah, I don't know. Her birthday is actually the same as yours in the summer. And so it was like, I always remembered because it was like that, maybe like the first day of summer. And she always, every year on her birthday, had like a birthday party camp out sleepover, like in her backyard. We put up a tent and stuff, and we used to just be out there like playing, you know,
Campaign.
random games. And yeah, it was a lot of like, you know, daring each other to do stuff. And I just remember like that plummeted into other stuff, and I
Plummeting.
and and I just feel like
Water.
that was the first moment like that I remember being like, yo, I like low-key like this shit. So
I was thinking,
Well,
when y'all were having these feelings, really, I know I'm interrupting, sorry, but did it feel wrong, like to you? So I'm thinking of myself, like my first feelings of like a crush. You have like a little bit of guilt, like a little bit of like, I'm not supposed to feel this.
Yeah.
So
you mean for the same sex or
even
in
the
general?
same sex in general.
Yeah.
So now, did you have an extra layer of feeling like you were doing something wrong or feeling something you shouldn't be feeling because it was towards a woman or a girl?
You want me to
you
start?
want to go ahead,
Sure.
take us up.
So yeah, I feel like I suppressed those feelings. Like they were there, and I would do like subtle things, but I didn't really start exploring my sexuality until like probably high school. Like, because also when you're young, you're not like exploring to that extent. Like you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I have a crush, hold my
Yeah.
hand, tap, kiss. But I was always conditioned that that's wrong. You're not supposed to have these feelings. So I had my pretend boyfriends to like make everyone else happy. So that's usually how I coped with that. Even in high school, even beyond that, I just had to pretend and have this persona of like, yeah, I still like men when I didn't. So there was a lot of guilt in that.
Okay.
Yeah. I feel like at that time for sure I felt like I was doing some. I mean, I was also a kid, so I was just like, fuck, my mom's gonna find
You were
out.
wildin'.
Yeah, there was also times where like, I don't know, I feel like her mom would walk in the room like, what are y'all doing? And
Wait,
we'd be
what
like,
grade was this?
Nah, elementary to middle school. It's all
I
a
was
blur.
just tapping in the backyard.
But I feel like those were like the moments that I was like definitely like, oh, this is like, I don't know what this is, but I know that I like it. But yeah, I was like I always just felt like I was gonna get caught or I was doing something wrong. Also, like in my household, you weren't allowed to like have a boyfriend till you were like 16, and that was like in a group setting. So like I just knew like at those earlier ages, like, yo, mom finds out, I'm fucked. And like going into high school, I think I was always tomboyish, right? Whatever, you know, we would kind of deem ourselves at that age. And I felt like once I got into high school, I was hanging out with like a lot of feminine presenting girls, and I like had to like change how I presented myself to like run with this crew.
Were they like, oh, wear this,
I mean, sort of, but I also just feel like, I mean, I played a lot of sports, but I also just feel like I started gaining a lot of attention, especially like freshman into sophomore year. Like, I mean, I don't have them no more, but I like that summer going into my sophomore year, like, boom,
things were huge.
Those things just came out of fucking nowhere.
Huge boobs.
And I was getting a lot of attention from dudes. And I mean, that was like the first time in my life, trust me, that I was ever getting attention. So I was kind of like, ooh, like, who doesn't want to get, who doesn't want to get attention? And so I think that's when I started to like polish up on like my outer appearance.
Your feminine side.
And it always felt like wrong. Like it always didn't feel like it fit me. But, it felt, I also went to like a Christian school. So I just felt like, you know, I was the one in religion class feeling like,
what
damn,
would Jesus do?
Exactly. You know, I'm over here like thinking about the next thing, knowing damn sure that we're not talking about it. And so I kind of pushed those feelings aside a lot of high school, still experimenting, but like really just concealing that stuff. And it wasn't until I like stepped into like college that I was like, man, fuck all this shit. And just went like full wicked wild crazy. So,
full rainbow flag.
Yeah, full pride.
Wait, I think when I met you in college, you were still.
We don't gotta talk about it, Roxie.
You didn't say that was off limits.
I'm playing.
Wearing dresses.
No,
I wasn't.
no.
They
were still. They had the basketball shorts and the tank top with the boobs out. And I was like, you're gay. No, I'm not. I was like, you wait and see.
Yeah. It's crazy because I have like that exact memory. Like,
remember, it was the purple shorts, no?
I don't remember what color the basketball shorts were, but I remember like it was like early on freshman year, some outdoor shit. It was probably like one of the frats having some shit. And Roxie was hanging out with like your crew at the time. And I had my crew, and I just remember like we hit it off. We were kind of cool, but Roxie was just like, you're gay. And I was just like, the fuck? I have my boyfriend. Like, you know, with like my basketball shorts and my perm. I still had a perm.
Oh my God. I was like,
Ponytail.
queer,
And I was like, I'm not gay. A whole like year
Roxie had a
later.
gaydar on you.
Hell yeah. A year later, I was
You
like,
lit liquor.
face deep in
Next
it.
minute, walking around campus with a girl. I'm like, I knew it.
And what's even crazier is like we didn't become like best friends till like our junior year of college. And it's like this whole, we kept, you know, kind
Second
of
semester, junior year,
yeah. And we were like inseparable ever since. But it was just funny that she called me out like freshman year. I was like, fuck this midget ass bitch.
Oh my God.
Did you keep her in mind though? Like, did that moment stick with you, or had you heard it before?
It only stuck with like only after we kind of reconnected and had that like memory. And I was like, yo, I definitely saw you out on the quad.
Blocked it.
Probably. I mean,
was that the only person, or was she the only person that's ever pointed that out to you? Or?
Oh no, I'd been hearing that shit since like I don't know, probably
Third
like
to eighth grade.
junior high. Like, I went to my like sophomore, I had like a sophomore dance or some shit, and I like wore a full blown suit and went with like one of my best friends who at the time was my best friend, and like now, ironically, like. He's also gay. Like anyone I went to a school dance with, now we're all like gay. And so, I mean, I don't think it was intended at the time, but yeah, I was like in a full blown suit, and I just feel like
men?
Yeah, men, gay men. And it was, I just remember my mom kind of being concerned about like, why don't you want to wear a dress like all the other girls and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I saw some movie where this girl showed up in a suit to her prom, and that shit was fire. And I was like, I'm about to do that. And I really liked it. And honestly, I think that was the first time I was like getting into like pushing the binary with just like the way I wanted to dress. From then on, I just remember like the rest of my high school career, like people being like, you like girls, you fuck girls. And it's like, yeah, for sure. But I'm like not going to be out with it.
We were
It's
talking
Like,
about
don't tell
finger
my
banging.
boyfriend.
We were
Right.
talking about finger banging earlier.
Like, don't talk about the shit I was doing behind the bleachers with your girl. Like, you know,
It's interesting that you bring up like prom and like going in the suit because my mom didn't let me. I had to get my eyebrows done, nails done, this big puffy. No, that was my sweet 16. She made me wear a dress too. But I graduated high school. What age was that? 17?
17, 18.
Yeah, so I was 17. So the year before that, big puffy dress. Next year, she made me do some other stuff. But I had a teacher who felt I wasn't going to go to prom because I had to wear a dress. But my teacher bought me a tux. So what I did was my best friend, Danny, his mom drove us to prom and I changed in the car. And I went out, took my pictures, and changed back before I got home. Felt like some Cinderella stuff.
What teacher was? Oh my! See,
right?
teachers
Was it Miss
be
Potter?
just
Yeah.
amazing. Yo.
Yeah,
Teachers
I wasn't
be really.
gonna go. So it was like me, Danny, and Eddie, and we just went. So we went like in a trio.
That's amazing. Shout out to Miss Potter. Is her name?
Yeah,
Was?
Miss Potter.
You
Yeah,
keep,
Shout
you
out
keep
to
in
you.
touch?
I think I have her on Facebook.
That's really
That's
awesome.
Put
Super
that part
dope.
so I can send it to her.
I was gonna ask you
Okay.
basically the same question.
yeah,
As far as-
facts, Stephanie.
When did I know? I knew a little later, but then so in middle school is when I knew. But it was because I saw other like gay girls, but usually girls that were masculine presenting.
Mm-hmm.
And then I knew then. But when I really think about it, I remember being in elementary school and I would have girls that I really admired, but I didn't realize it was more than just like a girl thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I probably was crushing on this girl, but I didn't have the language to put there. Like, I just didn't think it was a thing. I didn't see lesbians, like I didn't know that was happening.
He's like, I don't see color. Like, I don't
Where are
see
the
lesbians.
lesbians?
Like I just didn't know it was a thing. But I'm like, I probably had a crush on this girl. That's why I was like obsessed with her and like, wanted to be her friend and wanted to be just like her. But I probably just, liked her, but I didn't know. But it wasn't until middle school that I had like the language of it and being like, well, I'm definitely bisexual because I like guys.
I can't remember if I've asked you this before, but have you ever like come out and said like I'm bisexual, or was it just you happen to like girls?
What do you mean? Like when?
Like in conversations where you like going to pride parades, where you wearing the rainbow flags, where you
Yeah, I guess if it comes up like in conversation, yeah.
no now, but I'm saying back then.
In middle school, I definitely knew, and I was using the term bisexual. So years later, I reconnected with someone from middle school, and she showed us the yearbook from middle school. And you know how when you're little in your yearbook, you kind of write notes on it and you like write things. So she was writing little notes about the different people. And what is said next to my picture? Bisexual. So I'm like, I knew I was already using the term.
That's interesting.
Then.
I never knew
I
that.
wonder why she wrote that.
But you know how you just write little things that you remember? It was like she had doodled all over the book, and my picture said bisexual.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I already had the language at the time.
It's interesting because I feel like I don't feel like I like knew that even when we first met in college. Like I would have. I
didn't know that.
I
We were
Because I'm
close.
a super feminine
Yeah.
girl, and I was
Had no
dating
idea.
men, and it's just always been easier for me to date men. Like super, I don't know. I guess
Travis, you're easy.
I feel like I never really got like hit on by girls. And if it ever was, it was like super masculine presenting women that I kind of wasn't really into. Like I always thought I just like feminine, like girls like me, like, pretty girls, girly girls.
She trying to say we wasn't pretty.
So it just didn't it never happened. Like
hate
like
you.
my dating life with girls wasn't like, I always think I was in Gen Z now, where it's like more open, more like I
Fluid,
probably
yeah.
would have dated girls, but for me, it just didn't happen that way. That makes sense.
Totally. And then for me, when
Travis, I knew you was gay. Now just
Oh my God. Did you ever tell your catfish story on here?
I don't know.
no.
Are you going to tell
You've
it
been
now?
catfished, or you were a catfish? I knew it.
I got catfished. Fuck it.
It was a dude.
I'm trying to remember how old I was. I was an early adopter of the internet. Probably like while y'all were still like trying to figure out how to get your AOL minutes and stuff. Like I was on there. I was
AOL minutes.
and I met someone. I want to say it was like Black Planet. I don't know why the fuck I was on Black Planet.
Y'all know what Black Planet is?
I remember that.
What's Black Planet
Black
for the people who
Planet?
don't know what Black Planet is?
I
babe?
don't think it was. I don't want to call it a dating website, but
It was like a social media.
social media
kinda.
website, like pre MySpace.
Mhm.
And I had a profile on there. And
There was like a Latino version. It was called Mi Gente.
I had mi gente too.
You don't even speak
Rabbit.
Spanish.
Because I look Hispanic. So like,
He was like, let me get up in here.
Travis is like,
I
I'm
had
getting
to-
these
the-
You were
bitches.
I had to
catfishing on mi
diversify
gente.
my portfolio,
You come to your house. Where's the Puerto Rican flag?
but I definitely had to lie about my age on every site. But met someone, we would talk, even had phone conversations, and those phone conversations would lead to like, what are you wearing and things like that. And I think I had a webcam, and this was a time when someone could tell you like, I don't have a webcam. He's like, well, it's new technology.
yeah.
Not everyone has it. So when she would tell me this, I was like, whatever. And this went on for a while, and then I feel like I started to feel like something's up here. And one day I was just like, you could tell me, kind of like trying to do some reverse psychology.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean? It was like, you could tell me. Like, I figured it out. And then they was like, how'd you know? I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I
And
didn't.
change the voice with the how'd you know?
No, it was through chat.
Oh, okay.
And basically the person, he then told me, about being gay and how it was hard for him to, and I think you will all be pretty proud of me because I didn't take the typical dude approach. I was just like, I understand, but obviously this isn't for me, and just wish them the best of luck. But
You
so
mature.
and this was me
You were young,
because
yeah.
I wasn't even 18 yet. I had to be like
I feel like you're just
16.
a decent person.
I
Let him
try
down
not to think
nicely.
about the phone conversations. And then I asked, when we spoke on the phone, there was a girl. They would give the phone to their roommate.
So you were never talking to the person either?
Mhm.
So they were like just coaching their roommate what to say to you.
Yeah.
So, say hello.
So I guess
Ally.
I'm a little gay, I guess.
Well, you were still talking to a girl.
Yeah, I guess. But those chat messages, I'm hoping they got
It's like-
But I'm
deleted.
pretty
It's
sure
like
you're like,
euphoria.
in
Then.
there.
It's like euphoria in
Yeah.
that way.
Yeah.
What way?
Yep.
What?
What did I
Jules
miss?
and Jules.
show,
No
Like
spoilers.
Euphoria.
Oh,
my
she would
bad.
Catfish?
No.
Never
Don't worry about
mind.
it.
Never
We
mind.
love you.
Mind.
Go watch Euphoria. I'll give you my
I
login.
do watch
I'll give you my
Euphoria.
login.
I just have bad memory. What happened?
Damn.
It's not a Euphoria recap. I think there's another podcast about that.
You know what? I'm leaving.
No.
He didn't catch on the first time. It's over.
Baby, remember you asked me the other day? You were listening to something and you asked me a question about trans kids.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a good time to bring it up because we're talking about.
They just bringing out all the stops in this
Well,
podcast.
I guess before we get into this, before I ask my questions or we get into this conversation,
Yes, I'll marry you. Sorry. Wrong podcast.
so T, I don't know if it's okay to say, when I met you, you were Tina.
I was she.
You were she. And I do want to be respectful because even when we love you, so your name comes up in our household a lot, and I'll catch myself and I'll say she, and then I'm like, oh, I meant they, and but when I met you, you were she, Tina, and now you are they, them.
I don't know who the fuck Tina is. Nah. Yeah.
You are now they, them, T. Is that
They, them, T. Yeah, occasionally he, only just because nowadays, But
Okay.
yes.
Are you using he sometimes now?
I'm trying it out. I think that's the cool thing about pronouns is,
Okay.
you see if the size fits, and if it doesn't, you're like, fuck that.
Honestly,
pronoun. So,
if I'm being honest, he is probably easier for me to
Oh
wrap my
my
head around.
God.
Try
I
it
knew he
out,
was gonna say
Travis.
that.
And then
It's not about you.
No, I'm being honest.
It's not about you.
I know. I'm like, don't say it. He said
It's
it.
better for me.
I know.
Nah,
it's
nah.
easier for me.
I don't.
I'm sorry, baby. I'm sorry. I know you.
All right,
I'm
sorry.
trying.
I love
Yeah,
my
I'm-
friends.
I-
They go up to bat for me. Shit, Stephanie and Roxie were ready to kill
I'm working
you.
through. I'm working
We're
through
here to
this
teach you
in real time.
babe.
I know.
This is the queers episode.
Take over.
Travis
Take
about to get
over.
jumped.
Take over.
Damn, I don't even know if we should get into
No, you
this.
got it. You got it. You
Nah,
got
you
it.
good. You good.
Okay,
It's your
so
podcast.
I think it's a safe space.
is it?
Now when these earrings come off.
So I guess this is fairly new. I mean, when did all this happen? Like, when did this journey begin for you? Like,
Damn. Nah, I'm just playing.
well,
Right
let me-
no.
well, before you get into your story, when you did start to transition,
Mhm.
I know Stephanie would tell me, like, I remember in college, like, you used to say you didn't even like your breast.
Mhm.
So that was a thing. Like, it wasn't
Yeah.
like a new thought. So does it go that far back or even
Yeah. I think Roxie and I have had like pretty in-depth conversations just about like me kind of, I don't know, it's kind of like the same thing with like my coming out or like knowing that I was queer at a young age. Like, I don't really know the exact moment. I just know that like growing up as a kid, just probably like even like 4 and 5 years old, like I always was just like wanted to be one of the boys. I always liked running around without my shirt on. I mean, I think most like kids like to be free and naked and stuff, right? But like in my neighborhood and like just playing night games or being out in the backyard, like I was always just like taking my shirt off and running around, and it never phased me, and it wasn't really a thing till you start getting your little beady bumps, and my mom's like, now you got to put on a training bra, you can't do that no more. And I'm like, what? But I grew up in a household full of girls, and I have like a lot of memories of my mom used to dress us alike in the same dresses on holidays and Easter and things like that, and I used to just like be so upset having to wear these fucking matching dresses. And I just, like I said, kind of in high school, like I just was always playing around with my fashion and like what fit me dressing wise, because I just didn't feel like feminine presenting clothes fit who I was. And yeah, I mean, I was like a super skinny, scrawny kid, very athletic. All of, like my middle school into junior high, got to high school, still super athletic, but like, I don't know, puberty hit me hard. And that's when I started like experiencing like a lot of dysphoria with like my chest. I ran track year round. I was a sprinter. So for me, like having big breasts was like the worst thing that could have happened. And I was just super self-conscious about that.
It was big.
They were big. When
They were
I tell
heavy.
y'all, when I had top surgery, the way they weighed those bad boys, I was like, damn. Basically having like river strapped to my chest.
Passed that on.
I know there's a lot of people out there that were like, could I just insert that into my ass? But sorry, y'all. Sorry. But yeah,
No.
so I don't know. I hated it. And like I said, I tried to fit in. And so I think I was just always battling. I mean, I've always struggled with identity on some capacity. Some of y'all who know me know that I'm like adopted, but I grew up with white people. So it was like I was just battling that in and of itself, plus my queer identity and plus like just how I outwardly wanted to present. And so I think I kind of just put all that aside because Roxie, like I said, Roxie and I would talk like in college. I feel like when we were in college, there wasn't a lot of representation. Like it's just crazy to me how quickly things evolve, but also not quickly because, right, we've got like, it feels slow. But I think just thinking back 10 years for us, like, I'm like, we were like a handful of like baby studs on our campus. Like there was no masculine presenting like lesbians or whatever you identify. Like there was none of that representation. It was like a handful of us, and then you had your lugs, your lesbians until graduation. Now just like you just had like a lot of feminine presenting girls, and like you just. So for us, it was like you got addressed as a stud or a AG or like I don't know. I don't even know all of the terms.
Are studs and AGs, are those terms pretty much done?
Yeah, it's like aggressive girl. Like
I'm saying, are those terms done? Like we don't use them anymore?
I honestly don't know.
I think it's all masculine presenting now.
Masculine presenting. Do you have a preference? No.
Pretty
real nigga.
Huh?
Real nigga.
You know what I'm saying? Whatever you want, babe.
I feel like it was just, for me, I didn't like those labels, but I just always deemed myself as like androgynous, right? Like kind of possessing both. And that was the term that I kind of just led with every time I introduced myself. Like I'm androgynous. I have both female and masculine presenting qualities, whatever. And so I knew trans people, but I think it wasn't really something I really made myself knowledgeable because I was really comfortable in getting like more into my queerness.
And I feel like at that time, the awareness we had of trans people were just like, I'm not a woman, I'm a man. I'm not a man, I'm a woman. It was there was no gray area. So it kind of felt too extreme, I think.
Yeah, and it's like, I think that you can feel these things or know these things, but when you don't have like something to kind of, there was no reference point for me. I was really like trying to come into my queerness in like a space that, while super open and progressive, that that campus was, it still felt like I was closeted in a lot of senses. I didn't really feel like there was a lot for me to branch out. And so, I don't know. I think that it's always been there, and it just got to a point where I don't want to like spill my age, but like the older that I'm getting, the more I'm like,
that old.
the older I'm getting, I was just like, I can't keep living like this anymore. And yeah, like it kind of just tied back to like the dysphoria that I constantly was feeling with my chest, and wanting to feel liberated from that. And so I just like in my, last relationship I was in, I was like, like I really don't know what hoops I'll have to go through, because I was still toying with like if I wanted to come out as trans or non-binary or any of that. But I was like, I know for sure in like this calendar year, like these bitches are like going. And I was like, I have no relationship with them, and they're not a part of my like identity. I don't need them. And once I kind of determined that and had conversations with family and friends, like it just kind of spiraled from there, where I was like, like, nope, I think I'm gonna work on my name change and now my pronouns. And I was just like, now I feel comfortable to really identify as non-binary. And so, yeah, I mean, I think y'all were some of the first people that I told. I think I probably told all of y'all before I like had conversations with some of my family members. And yeah, it just like went from there. And then I was just kind of like, fuck it, I'm going on hormones, and and it's been a crazy ride.
Your beard looks really nice.
Thank you. It's a little blotchy right now, but yeah, I mean, it's been the best experience, the most at home that I've felt. And it's weird. It's like kind of going back to like the shorts and the slick back ponytail. Like I don't even know who that person is. And Roxie, to be honest, Roxie was the like person I was the most scared to tell. Like it's crazy because we've been friends for so long, and we've always mirrored each other in such a weird way, and like relationship stuff and just style and just all of these things. And I was like, fuck, like
now I'm gonna take this different
and I'm like,
path.
this is the biggest step that I'm gonna be like taking, like, because I feel like our relationship has been such a foundation for me. I was like, I don't want Roxie to like see me like not as
relatable.
We're still like the same people, we're still the same friends, but I was like terrified to talk to her about it. Yeah, I was like, damn, she's not gonna love me with a beard and no titties.
Roxy's so,
how did you know?
Love it.
That was it for me. I'm out of here.
I don't know. It's just we've done so many things together. I was like, she might not.
We're still twins.
We are.
So
We're fraternal now.
So with all that being said, I guess I'll give you a little insight on what Steph and I were speaking about. So my question to Stephanie was, in doing this podcast, I've come to the conclusion that, if whatever you're doing, as long as you're not hurting yourself or anybody else, I'm here for it, right? And if it makes you happy, it's legal, go all out.
Be careful, it might not be legal. So
Yeah, it's a different
Whole
color.
nother conversation.
No, come on. I'm
Yeah.
sad now.
So my question to Steph was, do you feel like we're allowing children to explore these things? And, I basically said, like, kids are dumb. And, kids will at 2 say, oh, I'm a boy, I'm a girl. And it's like, do you think parents should really take that and say, all right, now we got to get him on hormones and really invest into what he's feeling as a 2-year-old? I hear you say, I felt this way as a kid, but it wasn't until I don't know if saying you had the courage to do it is the right word or the right phrasing, but you didn't do it till much later in life. Do you think kids have the understanding of using phrases like that, and parents saying, all right, let's see what this means? Like, my question to Stephanie was, it was something else, but basically, do you think kids can fully grasp that idea?
Yeah.
Can children make the decision
like
to
the
transition?
Yeah. I think it's complex. And I think that it's situational. Again, my journey is my journey, and it's completely different than, everybody else's. But I think, like, what I see now is, like, a lot of it's tied to this generation, like Gen Z, and, like, just having, like, this undeniable sense of self in ways that, and that's why I said there's so far that we have to go, but we've come so far already. Like, 10 years ago, I felt like I didn't see certain things I see now. And even past that, it seems like super foreign. And so I think representation matters. And I think I probably would have come out as trans a lot earlier in life had I had more representation. Not to say that would have been the scope for me, but I just think that, like, it would have made me feel more comfortable. And if these were things that I was thinking about at such an early age, because at 5, I'm sure I didn't know what it was, but I just knew I felt different. But I think that having been able to see other people living the way that they live, in their truth, and pushing the binary and all of these different things, like, it probably would have made me feel more at ease to question at least those things at an earlier age, rather than having to wait till I was in my 20s and late 20s and all of the things. So I think that kids are super perceptive, and I think that they have an understanding of, like, their autonomy, and I think they're curious, and I think that they question things, and I don't know that means that they have a complete sense of, like, I want to start transitioning, or I want to go on, hormones and things like that. But I do think that if they're questioning, I think that it's parents' job to continue to have those conversations, and be open-minded, and not, like, steer them from, like, I don't know, trying out things, or playing around with the way that they dress, or just figuring out who they are. Because I think it could also just be like, they maybe want to fucking switch up how they dress. Like, it doesn't have to be that deep. And I just think that when you start to be like, kids don't have sense of self, or you play those things off, like, it can completely reconstruct the way that they come into themselves. And I think that my parents are incredibly supportive, but I think that, like, yeah, had my mom, like, seen me dressed in boys' clothes and, like, fostered that. I mean, again, we didn't have those tools maybe, or that understanding 30-some years ago, but I think I probably could have come into myself a lot sooner. So I just think that it's parents' their job to listen to their kids, to have conversations, to give them materials, the tools to, like, be able to kind of figure these things out. I just think that I wouldn't write, like, I don't know, I'm not a parent, but the kids that I've worked with, I mean, I've worked with kids who know that they're trans, or know that they're queer, or stuff like that, and they're pretty young, and that's subject to change. I think it also just ties into, like, evolving. Like, they might be like, I'm fucking gay right now, and 2 seconds later they'll choose something else. And
That's the part that I have fear in, because it's not, oh, I'm trans now.
Right.
Because there's more to that than
it's a irreversible decision. Yeah. And that's why I'm saying, I think, to speak off of experience, like I know somebody who has a family member who was very early on, like kind of always tomboyish, right? This term that this term that they coined, and always thought, you know, they were one of the boys and things like that. And I don't know how old they are now. They're like middle school aged, and now they're on hormone blockers. They're finally on hormone blockers, and this was like years in the making of questioning if they were trans or something. And it was more or less like mom educating herself, talking to the pediatrician, having conversations with her child, to understand, and just kind of giving that child the freedom to like figure things out. And there was a lot of moments where there was questioning, like, oh no, I don't know if I want to really do this. And the hormone blockers are like the first step. And that was like several years. So I think that like if you just kind of keep having those conversations, and you get to that point when a child is still within puberty and has that like ability to maybe start hormone blockers, and just see, because that's something that you can stop and then let puberty take its course if you decide like, hey, like, you know, this maybe isn't how I feel. But yeah, transition is permanent. In terms of the gender affirming surgery part, I mean, you can always start or stop hormones, but it is a bigger decision at play. It's not like just being able to be like, hey, like I feel like wearing makeup today and tomorrow I don't. But I don't know. I just think it ties into the evolving piece. And I just think that as generations go on, we're gonna see kids like younger and younger just have way more certainty in who like they are as people. But yeah, I don't know. I've done a lot of talking, so I
agree.
When you talked about the puberty situation, I know when Travis and I we spoke about it. Usually there's certain things where like, we'll hold this for the podcast, but this was like more of a deep conversation that we had. And I felt that there are some kids who know, like, ain't no denying. Like, you even hear about maybe young kids where you could tell that they were gay. Like, the family knew the whole time, had something in their step, they just knew. So I'm like, if there's a child who just knows deep in their bones, like, this gender I was assigned at birth, like, it just doesn't feel right. And me as a parent, I could do something hormonally that they're not going to go into puberty and make them feel even more like this body doesn't belong to them. I would want to be able to help them with that. Does that make sense? And it isn't as permanent as, like, you're not saying we're going to do a gender transition surgery, but hormones to prevent like a period or like facial hair or things like that, just so that this child who already feels like they're entrapped in a body that doesn't feel right, it doesn't become even more exaggerated.
You could quickly tell that story about Eli when we were talking about T.
Oh no, I didn't want to talk about that.
Oh, you don't?
No.
Okay.
Damn.
I just feel like sometimes, like, we share our lives as adults, but he's a kid. And I don't want him in 5 years to watch something we said about him and he's like, yeah, I didn't need to say that. You know, like,
I feel that.
You know what I mean? So there's certain things I'm like, oh, that's kind of pushing without his consent to talk about on here.
And one thing I just did want to say is, like, I think, you know, you brought up just like kids feeling like, you know, some kids might feel like their gender that they were assigned at birth isn't fitting to them. And I think that like, again, and that's the case for some people. And I think that, like, speaking on just like the non-binary side of things, like, I think that there's always going to be confusion about, like, especially like, okay, look, I present as masculine, literally, like, looking kind of, I've got the beard, all the things, but and then like tagging it with like the non-binary aspect, people are like, well, you look like a dude, like you're presenting, you're passing as a guy. And it's like, you know, I think that people don't give other people the space to just live the way that they like. My identity and the way that I term or coin myself or identify, like, has fuck all to do with anybody else. And I think when there are kids that are like trying to come into their identity and like questioning whether maybe they're non-binary, I think that that's a completely like different thing from like also feeling like, yo, like I know like I was always meant to be, you know, masculine or present this way. I think that there's a spectrum there with like the non-binary and like pushing the binary and all of that stuff. And I think that there are obviously kids that like definitely have like possess very feminine energies or qualities and could be little boys or vice versa. And I think that that's something that I like really want parents and people to like nurture, because there's nothing wrong with boys being, you know, presenting as softer, I should say, you know, cis presenting children or something, like presenting as soft or liking things that are not necessarily deemed as like boy qualities. And I just think that we have an opportunity to see like such development in kids as adults and how they like navigate relationships if we just leave that stuff alone and we let kids kind of, I don't know, like just explore.
Because the kids don't have all the as heavily influenced societal norms that we have. And
kids don't really give a fuck.
No.
If you really have a conversation with a kid, like they're some of the most, I mean, yeah, kids bully, but like there are so many kids that are just so accepting and so open.
I will
and
share
like,
this with about Eli. Eli's known you his whole life.
Yeah.
And when we stopped calling you Tina, started calling you T, he didn't really question it. He's just like, T. But then one day on FaceTime, he sees you. And when we hung up, he was like, why does T have a beard? And I literally just explained it to him. And he said, okay, totally fine. He even said she and corrected himself.
Yeah.
And changed your pronoun. He corrected himself. So kids literally don't give a shit.
I remember when you like texted me, you were like, Eli like said they, and like, when are they gonna? And I'm like, yo, this kid's fucking
so kids
the best.
Don't give a shit. It's us. It's us adults who are brainwashed with this,
stuck in our ways.
Like kids don't, you know, they don't give a shit. They'll respect what you want and how you feel. Like they might be curious about it, and the questioning might be awkward, and it might feel awkward for us as adults to have the conversations with them, but they're open.
Yeah.
100% open.
I think one thing that you mentioned that I kind of want to touch on is like if there's boys who are like more feminine or like I guess girls who are more masculine, like just kind of separating gender and sexuality, because someone who might be trans man might also be bisexual or gay. So I think that's also something that gets like got swept under the rug,
or they kind of grouped together.
Yeah. So
like if you're transitioning male to female, then you like men. Yeah, but it's like maybe not. You know,
it's like people don't understand like
separate how I feel, like
sexuality
the body
and like, you know, your gender. They're still separate things. Like
so how you identify your gender is is not directly correlated to your sexual orientation.
Yeah, and also like being on hormones too, like being on HRT or whatever, you know, like a lot of that is subject to, because you're literally going through another puberty. So right now, like, I mean, I've liked women for the majority of my adult life, and I mean, I intend hopefully to keep on, but like, I really don't, I consider myself to be pansexual. Like I in a queer sense, like I really just
love people.
I love people. I'm attracted to all people, but I've never dabbled in that. But I know so many people who are trans who have said like, yo, like 2-3 years down the road of like my journey, like I realized like I was curious about like dating men or, you know, trying sex with the, you know, women, and I've always only dated men my whole life. And so I just think that like that's that fluidity piece, like that it's literally like the spectrum, and it's constantly, people are constantly coming into their own and figuring out what they like and and that's the point, is like you might not like what you liked yesterday tomorrow. And we just don't give folks the space to like discover or explore those things. We think it has to be so like stuck in one thing. And so yeah, I mean, again, like 5 years from now, y'all could be on a podcast with me again, and I could be like, I got a whole man for I got me a
Not
Travis.
the deeper voice.
You know what I mean? And so, I just think that's something else that I think that we like need to like recognize that, you know, puberty changes the way people kind of go through their stuff. And so, I don't know.
That reminds me of your fun fact where it's like it can happen as early as like 2 or 3, but then you mentioned like 30 and 40 and 50, and I feel like that's sexuality. Like it's just constantly changing, and what you're attracted to in your 20s might be different than what you're attracted to in your 40s. We're always progressing.
That kind of reminds me of the conversation, like when we hear about men later in life who have had wives, children, everything, and then they like leave for a man, and it's always like
Oprah,
he always knew and he lived a lie. But could it be possible that they weren't living a lie?
Exactly.
But then like maybe later in life.
Situational. But I think sometimes because of the society that we live in,
They
he
were
was probably
suppressing
trying
it.
to like live up to
Suppressing
like
it.
this
Yeah.
American dream. My wife, my kids, I did it right. And then you're still sad inside. You're still broken. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna have
finally have to break out.
Another Euphoria reference.
I got that one.
You got that one.
I watched the show.
Yeah. Yeah, sexuality, gender, like it's a transition. And I feel like even within the queer community, there's like a bunch of like people don't understand, don't get it. Like
I think that's the hardest part, because going to Pride, you get a sense of community, but if you don't fit this standard of what they want you to like fit, you can't sit with us. Like sometimes our own community can be that way.
The worst.
yeah.
And that can be in anything, in like Black communities where it's like, oh, you're not Black enough. Oh, these communities. Like I feel like growing up Afro-Latina, like when I hung out with like my Black friends, like I wasn't Black enough, or when I hung out with my Latino friends, I wasn't Latin. My hair was too kinky, or I wasn't dark enough. So it's like I never found out where I fit in. And sometimes the queer community can feel that way. I don't think it's often, but sometimes I have to kind of like question that, like, can I be my complete self, or do I have to fit into like the new queer box?
I totally hear you on the identity and the Blackness, on the Latinidad, which I have a problem with that term, but I totally feel you. And with the sexuality piece, sexual orientation, like being bisexual, but I'm with the man. And like even y'all said, like, I didn't know you always knew you were gay. Y'all thought I was like a lesbian until graduation. A lug, you know, like those things. And it's just,
I never used that term in my life. That might be in the white community.
you know, so I get it totally. And it's like weird, like even if I'm celebrating Pride, it's like awkward, like
Why?
I don't know, because people
Bitch,
kind of
you gayer than us. The fuck you mean?
I don't know about that.
No, I mean, like, you know, I don't know. It's
No,
why
I
does-
get you.
Why does it fucking matter is the first
But
thing.
because sometimes
You're on that
feels-
big spectrum. And
it
community.
sometimes feels like you have to be
Yeah,
like,
you
I'm
gotta
not
pick or
gay enough,
choose, yeah.
you know.
you can
Identity.
be as queer as you want and be happily married with kids, and that's
But then I'm
just
also
what it is.
seeing even people who are identify as queer having struggles with like the non-binary emergence. So not, you know, but like the fact that they're more. Yeah, I see you rolling your eyes. But
What do you mean? I missed it. Did I?
like,
That I mean?
let's say like with the whole struggling with pronouns or like what
In the
are
queer
you,
community?
this, that. Even people in the queer community are like annoyed with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
I'm not gonna use they.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people, but
That's interesting.
I don't know. I mean, we could keep going on and on and on about it.
But anyway, yeah.
Forever and ever.
What are your thoughts, Travis?
It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
That's why I'm kind of like just listening. I think sitting back and taking it all in, for me, it's like for a long time, just even being gay or lesbian, that was like, that's it. You're straight, gay, lesbian. And then as time goes on, it's like evolving into now we have non-binary and all this other stuff. And it's like, wait, I'm still trying to wrap my head around gay, lesbian. And now you just added a bunch of more branches to the tree. And
LGBTQ.
Can't believe we did that. Just adding damn branches.
And it just goes back to my earlier point. You know, you're not hurting yourself. You're not hurting anyone else. So, you know, do what makes you happy. It doesn't change how much I love you. And if I'm being honest, it's like, oh, that makes sense. Like when I first heard it, was like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, keep on rocking.
And there's nothing wrong with asking questions and wanting to understand, but I hate when people question to instantly dismiss it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you didn't really want to question it. You just wanted to like put your
it's
2
like,
cents.
like my questions is like, I really want to learn.
Yeah.
And I want to be respectful.
And that's the thing is like, I mean, everyone is going to be different, but in my personal journey, like, you know, particularly with family and friends, like I've been very, I don't want to say patient because it's like not my job to have to be like patient and educate people and all the things. But, I mean, there's just some people, like my grandma is 91 years old, y'all. Like, I'm not going to be like, Uma, you said Tina again. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just grateful she's still here and breathing. Like, so,
OT.
But yeah, there's a lot of people that I give grace because I did live my life as, you know, they knew me as one person or just, you know, for a lot longer than they're knowing me right now as who I am. And I just let them know, like, hey, this shit is subject to change. So like you're wrapping your head around who I am now. And by the time you get caught up, I might be somebody else. But so I do give certain people grace. It's just people who are not willing to, you know, get with the times and like the pronouns and respect that. Like all I ask is for like just basic decency of like respecting. Like if you can't get my pronouns correct, and again, those are subject to change, so I could understand why it might be hard when you're like, you just said it was they, them, now it's he, they. Like what the fuck? But you know my name. So, and that especially like in a professional sense, like, yo, like my shit is in my email. So there's just like no excuse, and I should never have. So I think it's going to be different for everybody, but like Travis, speaking for you, like if there's ever a time you slip up, I'm not going to like literally curse your ass out. You know what I mean? Not everyone is going to be like that, but for me personally, like I'll just be like, oh, and like I know you'll correct yourself, and like, and then you're like, oh, and you'll apologize. And I think that's like, it's take on the responsibility and like don't make me take it on. And I'm not like, we're friends and family, so like I can speak openly about that. But just like if you're engaging with other people, like if you're taking responsibility for it, it takes that burden off of like that person that you just might have like offended and unintentionally too. So I think that's really where it's at. It's just like, don't make them feel like shit. Like they've gotta like, oh, it's okay, like that tiptoeing around your feelings. And that's, I think it's just starting there, you know?
I think because of how important you are to me, I want to be mindful of that, right?
Right.
My worry is that I'm going to come across people who aren't you. And I have to remind myself, you know, potentially.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a no-brainer. T wants to be they, them, sometimes he. I'm going to, you know.
You hype with that sometimes.
You know, I'm gonna get on board. It's a no-brainer, but
I mean, it really and you know, you guys know this, but and it's crazy, and I'm so grateful that you guys have like Eli, because I know like this is like he's learning this stuff in school and like coming home, and but it really just starts with like really getting used to just being like, if you're meeting people for the first time, being like, hi, and what's your name, and like, what are your pronouns? Like starting there, like saves so much, because it's like without asking, and then someone like, I don't use, like, I'm not she, I'm not, you know, you're like, fuck, like, and again, not your fault, but I just think that's, I tell people to just get used to like every introduction now, like you're going to say your name and be like, and what are your pronouns? Yeah. And that's just like the world we're living in.
I've noticed it in email signatures at work.
Yeah. For sure.
I think I just use they, like, generally. Yeah. I've overgeneralized it for everyone, just to be on the safe side. And then eventually you'll find out their pronouns, but, you know, your approach is the best one.
Yeah. When I say it's the best, I just think
all right, let's get off the heavy stuff.
That was heavy? Oh, that's my life every day.
I think we're out of time.
This is episode 50.
Episode
tired?
50.
Tired.
I just didn't want it to be too crazy. I think it ended on a good note. I didn't want to.
What's
What
the
you
next
had
one?
in the vault for
right.
us?
I
Look,
want
you
to
didn't
know.
see me close the laptop.
Oh,
I
that's
was
the sign? That's the
that
cue?
was a cue. Like, oh,
Travis
next
was just
question?
getting fire. Look at him.
keep
He's ready.
this in the tuck.
You sure?
What you
Yeah,
had
I'm
next?
sure.
Okay.
Damn.
All
Oh,
right.
what you want to talk about?
Episode 3.
Oh, okay.
Oh man, you want me to step out?
No. Episode
I
3.
regret asking.
Oh
now.
God, what happened on episode 3?
Episode 3, we tell a little story about how my jealousy flared up.
Oh,
He is
And
too much.
well, one, I'm curious to know, what were your thoughts hearing that?
oh,
Or before we go there, how would you describe your relationship with my wife?
oh my
Fuck.
God.
Damn, Travis.
Platonic. And
Well, now it is, but
Yeah.
you know,
You just said you loved me.
I
Is
do
that-
still love you. So
You
know,
better
this
still
is-
love me after I give you the.
I don't need the juicy details, but
Well, my relationship with you.
Oh my God.
So what was the question? What is your
my
See, this is why I
God.
wanted to wrap
my
it up.
relationship? My relationship with your
Would you
wife
look
is purely platonic friendship.
100%.
Shit, fuck friendship. We family now.
We family.
But I mean, back in the day, with what was brought up in episode 3, I mean, that was
your legs keep shaking.
that was a time in our lives, my life, that I don't know. I really don't remember how.
And the love we made.
I don't know how. Yo, it's weird. We've talked about this shit a million times too, so I don't know why I'm like getting all like, fuck. It's probably because I know there's
hold
people
on,
from New
hold on.
Paltz listening. No, but honestly, shout outs to y'all. But
Yo, what?
I think that we spent a summer, like y'all said, like we spent a summer. I think even before that, kind of panning back maybe into junior year.
Mhm.
And that's why I said I never knew. Because like I was in a long-term relationship with somebody and most of college and
Too long.
too long. And
Sorry.
I studied abroad like my first semester of my junior year. And I can remember like even back to then, like Facebook days, like Stephanie was hitting me, like just like non-friendly shit. It wasn't like, but just kind of like sliding
Exit
into
left.
my Facebook Messenger, and we were just like friendly, right? Like it wasn't ever, and we became cool, and I got the inkling that there was like maybe a crush there, but I was in a relationship, so I wasn't really paying any mind, and my relationship was messy, so I was focused on that. And then we both worked up the summer going into senior year.
I think so.
We both worked at New Paltz over the summer, and I don't know, the girl I was with at the time was doing some things, and we were just not in a good place, and obviously toxic relationships. And so I took it upon myself to be like, well, fuck you too. And Stephanie was just like, we got really close, like in our working over the summer, and I don't know.
Really?
Extra seasoning.
One thing led to the next, and we had like a little fling, and I don't
That
know.
was it.
It lasted that summer, but of course I was still like, yo, like I'm in this relationship, I'm not leaving this girl, and it got a little.
Deaded me.
I deaded Stephanie, and no, I was a real asshole back then, and it led kind
You
of.
were not a real asshole.
felt
It
like-
was a situation I knew I was getting
Yeah,
myself
it was a
into,
messy
and you made a choice. It wasn't me.
But Stephanie being the
Asshole.
true Gemini that she is, it didn't feel like that because
Yeah.
it was like I was dealing with
wasn't
like
an
one
adult
strong.
then.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't.
She says that now as
I
like-
say that now.
Somebody who's given her life over to Jesus.
the way
Travis.
it ended, do you see that? Could you have imagined where you are
No.
now?
Absolutely not. No, like I said, it got a little messy our senior year. And as in a little, it was probably a lot of messy for us at the time because like we hadn't dealt with like real adult life stuff yet, and so that was like a lot. And I felt at the time like I was being a piece of shit. I was dogging you out. I was dogging my ex out. And to be honest, like I feel like Stephanie like really had like genuine like feelings like in a good way, and I felt terrible, but I literally could not handle like two people, and I don't know, Stephanie did a good job of like laying down the boundaries. Like I think anytime my relationship was in turmoil, like here I come running, And it got to a point where Stephanie was like, bitch, fuck you. And I was like, damn. Like, and yeah, there were some boundaries put in place. And I don't know, I think we still were like working on a professional sense, because I think you were like president of Envied and you hit me up to do some pictures, which also caused some issues in my last relationship. But it
was strictly professional, though.
We were strictly professional. And I will say that was like our first like adult lesson where we were like, oh, we could be on a professional sense. Mm-hmm. And after that, I think we just went our separate ways, and we didn't talk for like a minute. Like, like your whole pregnancy with Eli, like I feel like for like a year, and then you went back and you were still pregnant, and I think we maybe reconnected a little bit, and then it wasn't until after she had Eli, I think, you hit me up for your nephew's birthday to take photos for his first birthday, and that's when we like reconnected as friends, and like completely like just like, yo, we're friends.
Did your ex know about you and T's thing?
Probably not.
I thought he did because
I don't know. I don't remember much about that relationship.
Well, I mean, yeah, I don't blame you, but I think that he did, only in the sense because I think I asked, because one, I felt like I didn't want to step on toes coming to your nephew's birthday party and taking photos, and two, I think because we were becoming friends again and reconnecting, like we started hanging out, and so you would like invite me around, and I took Eli's first photos, like his first birthday photos, and I was there, and I don't know. I was like, bro, you sure? Like, I just don't want to step on your ex's toes and all of that. And you're like, well, fuck him probably. But I mean, I think he was just like, whatever.
Maybe. I honestly don't remember.
Yeah, like we were just cool. And it's kind of cool though, like thinking how far we've come, because I remember when you came in the picture, Stephanie was like so excited about you, was telling me all about you. Like, and I was like, fuck that nigga now. And I just, like, I don't know. Like, it got to the point where I felt like you had gone through a lot. And I was just like, anybody that's, like, making my friend, like, genuinely happy and, like, is good for her, like, after all the shit that she's had to, like, be dealing with, I'm like, yo, that's, like, a big win. And, like, I'm just happy for her. And, like, I don't know. I was dealing with my own, I was a hoe. Like, I was doing my own thing. So I feel like it was just really great. And, like, it was all, I just remember, like, Stephanie calling me every time, even after I moved, and was just like, we're engaged. And I was like, bitch, what? Or the shit with your ex, and like I was just like, bitch, what? And it just moved so fast.
So if you've heard the earlier, well, you
episode 1
and 2, the big plan that Stephanie had, she was telling T about the whole thing, and
even when everything blew up, T was like the only person I told.
Yeah.
So the funny part was T knew the whole plan. They were gonna set me up at the restaurant.
If y'all haven't listened to episode 1 and 2, y'all have to go.
So when the next day after the big blow up,
shebang.
T FaceTime Stephanie, and Stephanie turns the camera, and we're
God.
at a diner, and she goes, "Bitch, I'll tell you everything later."
And I was like, yo. And then you're like, we're getting married. And I was like, what the fuck? But
took you on a roller coaster.
Nah, but honestly, and I think, you know, it's weird because I feel like I'm sure people like were like doubting it. Like, y'all haven't been, and just from the story that you told me of how y'all met, and I remember that so distinctly, even though we've heard it again, but like, I was just like, y'all are gonna last. Like, this is for sure, like the relationship for you. And I don't know. I mean, you and I can remember like the first time Stephanie and you and me like all hung out. I think I went to your like old place. Like, we hung out. We were at your old spot. You showed me your computer, like all this shit. I don't know. I was wearing some like lame ass shoes, and you were like, "Are those Kobe's?" No. And I feel like that was the first time that I felt like, yo, like, this can, like, we can be cool, and it's not gonna be weird. Like, that felt like the first day that it was like, I don't think this nigga's gonna kill me.
Yeah, I'm really happy. Not outside of you, I'm happy I was able to shake that jealousy that I felt that night. One, I've never dated.
Promise you nothing.
No. Well, Roxie told me.
Roxie was there too. You didn't know.
But you know, Stephanie's the first bisexual woman I've ever dated. So me learning how to maneuver is like, just because she's bisexual doesn't mean she wants to fuck everybody, right? And I had to learn that.
And also just, I think because I was still a masculine presenting lesbian at the time. And it's also just like that stigma of like, not every masculine presenting stud or whatever you want to go by wants to fuck their femme friends. Like, I mean, no offense, Stephanie's a beautiful girl, but I was like, we had what we had.
Fuck me once upon a time.
Right. Sounds like a contradiction.
No, I'm just saying.
Just because your
like,
feminist want to fuck you again.
right. Damn. All right. Well, the point being, like,
it's not a good like scenario in that situation. Maybe with your other feminine friends.
I'm kidding.
Not all mask presenting people want to fuck their feminine counterparts. There we go. But
Gotcha.
For that one time.
I'm just very grateful that like it, even more so just like me and Stephanie's friendship being able to develop. Like, I'm so grateful for like your friendship. Like, I don't think I ever thought we'd get to a point where I was like, yo, that's literally like my brother. Like, I mean, we've been through some shit, like you said in episode 3. Like, we at this point we are family because we've gone through mad crap together. And it's just awesome to see like how far y'all's relationship has come, and to see like your beautiful kids. I don't think Roxie and I like, you guys are the blueprint for us. And not just because y'all have this podcast, but like we probably name drop y'all like 10 times a week. No funny shit.
Is that your new pronoun? I don't do that. Like,
but it's just because I think we're so proud of you guys, and just really love to see the love, and I'm glad that I get to be a part of it. And it's not.
Did you see that chunky one?
Not
I want
awkward.
one. River, sorry.
River, you want the chunky baby?
I want the chunky one.
And I'm happy that we got Roxie along with the package. So
I was here pre-T.
Yeah.
Pre-T.
Pre-T and pre-T.
Pre-T.
Pre-T. Oh, okay. Dad jokes. It's getting late. Yeah, but I was here when Steph was chefing up in the kitchen with our $5, everyone chipping in to make some rice
Vienna
and chicken.
sausage,
yeah. How did you know that?
because she still makes it.
I still make the rice with the Vienna sausage.
Yeah, we was definitely getting it in. She was the lunch lady.
You were getting it.
Yeah. So
in
college,
the kitchen.
You too, Roxie?
I knew it.
we had like a common kitchen in our dorm.
Engage, right? It was
Engage, and I was like the resident mom, so I would like make rice and beans and meat and different things.
We ate, okay?
I think you two are the perfect guest for episode 50. This is a milestone for us, and the way this all came together.
It all kind of was just,
nice.
Shit, T is driving 26 hours, gonna be upstate. We gotta make this work.
Come help me out, save my life.
Yeah, and it all worked out. It was a good day, a long day. We're all tired as hell.
Old as hell.
Yeah.
What movie we watching?
What movie's watching us?
You guys are old.
Ew, what?
No,
Not like that. Why do you think everything?
I don't know. It's time for.
Blame the tea.
So you do want to fuck everyone.
It's the hormones.
You inviting? Listen, I remember when y'all was doing your little poly shit. Why didn't I get invited? The fuck?
Travis likes a certain kind.
Travis.
Oh,
they
just
look like
saying.
a man up here. Nah,
And this is when I
end
leave.
scene.
Well, I was gonna.
Wait, what did you say earlier? Non-binary. Put WAP. Something about WAP. What was it?
the theys have the best wine.
Is that a fact?
Yes.
According to Instagram, shit. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't knock it.
Yeah, on that tea.
I'd like to think that I do.
Teas WAP on that tea.
That shit.
So
That is complex.
With all that being said, I would like to end this podcast by asking our beautiful friends, Roxie, T, do you still like us?
I do.
Yes. We still like y'all.
All right, y'all. Episode 50 in the books.
We out.
Peace.